Growth Point or sagefinancial.com/growth point. This helps everybody, including especially companies, get in touch with us, get payroll services, accounting services, financial services, full cycle of services, just at $45 an hour. Welcome to Osage Financial. If you're a student, we hope you find this episode valuable to you. If you're a company looking for accountants, click the link below and we'll be in touch with you as soon as possible. I'm happy to announce that next month, we are launching a service called Growth Point or sagefinancial.com/growth point. This helps everybody, including especially companies, get in touch with us, get payroll services, accounting services, financial services, full cycle of services, just at $45 an hour or sagefinancial.com/growth point. In today's episode, how to make $20,000 a month next month. Are you ready? I'm excited about this. We talk all the time about what to do in a business, how to do certain things in a business. Today, I'm going to show you the actuals. So if you're a student, you know about practicals, you take a practical exam. If you're a company, you know the difference between a budget and actual financials. Actual financials are what really happened in the month. A budget is what you hope to happen and what you hope to use to get to the actuals. So today we're discussing actuals. I'm going to put some numbers behind me and we'll walk through $20,000 a month. How does that look like to you, to your company? Take a second. So we're discussing actuals today. You want to make $20,000 a month. How does that look like? So say we're in May of 2026 and your company works 6 days a week except, let's say, Sunday. So you work Monday through Saturday. You get 6 days a week. 6 days a week comes out to about 25 work days. Your goal is to make $20,000 a month. So now your first question to yourself is, how much would you need to make each day? So we take 20,000, you divide that by your work days, comes down to $800 per day. At $800 per day, you could have a service that's $800 a service, and it will take you 25 days to make your $20,000 goal. For most businesses that make about $20,000 a month, their services will be below that amount. So let's say your service cost, your average service is $350 per service. So we'll take 350 and we'll say 20,000 divided by 350. That takes us to about 57 and change. So you need 58 customers. So 58 customers by 350, that's just a little bit over 20,000. That's 20,300, which is good. Our target is $20,000. So let's take a quick review of the actuals that we just discussed right here. To make $20,000 in May and you have 25 work days, you just take the total dollar amount that you'd like to hit, how many work days you have, 25 work days, that's $800 per day. Your target per day is $800. And if your average service is $350 per service, you would need to service 58 customers. Now, 58 customers in 25 days, how many customers per day does that come down to? So you just say, okay, I need to take care of 58 customers and I have 25 business days. That comes out to about 2.32. So about 2 customers a day, 3 customers a day. So 2 to 3 customers per day. Some days you may have 2, some days you may have 3, but overall those customers will end up at 58 customers in the 25 business days that you operate, and you end up at about $20,000 in revenue, $20,300 to be exact. Your revenue should be very specific. What type of business do you have, and in that business what kind of revenue lines do you have? Usually we would like to simplify the revenue lines. You could do a lot of different things that flow into specific revenue lines. Let's say this is a lawn mowing business or a landscape business. So it's very important that we break down our revenue into very specific categories. You are a landscape business, so you have the lawn service, the tree service, and other service. Other service could include basic pest control, maybe some handyman service. However, our goal here is to hit this $20,000, or to be specific, $20,300 in revenue. So we categorize our revenue in 3 distinct revenue lines. That way we can know exactly where most of our money is coming from. Either way though, our average ticket is $350 and our target clients are 58 clients in that month, and we have 25 business days, and our goal is $800 per day. Now think about it this way. This number here is very easy to reach, 58 customers. If you market yourself correctly, you know what kind of business you're in. So you target those customers that need lawn service. You go door-to-door knocking. You target those customers that you can trim their trees for. Go to door-to-door knocking. There's weather changes everywhere, so you know if a storm is coming, there will be some fallen trees, some fallen debris. Fallen debris can go into your other revenue category. Our goal here is to say, look, I need to get 58 customers in the month of May, and each customer should be $350 in revenue, and you have 25 days to do it. And each day you go by, it's $800 a day in revenue. This is very doable. This is highly doable. It's all about understanding the numbers. And today, like I mentioned, we're discussing the actuals. So each of our revenue categories bring us to $20,300. Congratulations, you've hit your revenue, and you know how many customers you need, how much per customer, and how many business days you have, and how much in revenue per day. It ends up being about 2 to 3 customers to do this. Each day that goes by, 2 to 3 customers per day. That gives you plenty of time to do the work, get back into the office, in your truck, anywhere, and then look for new customers so that we can hit that 58 customers. In every business, you will have a situation where you may have to refund the customer, or where you may have to give discounts. Our goal still is $20,300. Let's say you have a great month, no customers are refunded, but to hit your goal, you have to give some discounts. And in this case, because our revenue is $20,300, you had a great month where you may not necessarily need to give any refunds to any customers because you did a great job, but you may have to give a discount to a customer because she needs that discount, or because you need to close that sale. When you give that discount, you end up with $20,000 in your net revenue. These numbers are doable, guys. 25 days in a month, 25 business days in a month, 58 customers, $350 in revenue per customer. Now you could move this $350 down or up. When you move your targeted revenue down, that means you need to move your amount of customers up to still hit your revenue goal. Okay? When you move this number up, that means you can move your customers down. For example, we did some simple math in the beginning. We have 25 business days, and we need to make $800 per day. If you make $800 per customer, you just need 25 customers to hit your $20,000 goal. $800 per customer, your goal is already hit. If your revenue per customer goes down to $350, you need 58 customers. Or if you charge $1,000 per customer, that puts you to 20 customers to get to $20,000. So that number can move up or down. It's a matter of what kind of service do you offer, and on that service, how many customers can you get in that month, and how many customers can you service in the 25 business days that you have for that month. So now that we hit our $20,300 goal, we give a discount of $300. We hit a net revenue. Net revenue is basically revenue after all your discounts, returns, allowances, customer concessions. That's your net revenue. That's the revenue that comes in right into the bank. And then we're going to subtract your labor, your materials and supplies cost, and your subcontractors cost. Now this is very important because depending on the structure of your business, you may be an S Corp, you may be an LLC, you may be a sole proprietor. We always recommend that the individual separates themselves from the business. And when you do that, you allow yourself to take advantage of the tax benefits that the tax code allows. So if you are operating in any one of these categories, we mentioned that you should pay yourself with a W-2 wage, especially if your business is at $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month. You are still at a level where you can afford to pay yourself with a W-2 wage, slowly separate yourself from the business, and then when you get to the higher levels, then you can pay yourself with royalties and different other options that are available to you. At this stage though, you pay yourself with a W-2 wage, okay? That means you pay employer taxes out of the business, okay? That allows you to avoid self-employment taxes. You record the subcontract expense and then any supplies and materials directly related to that job. You will notice I didn't put any fuel here. Obviously you use your fuel in your truck to get to the jobs. You use fuel in your equipment, in your lawnmower, in your trimmer, in your weed eater, in your cutter. We're not going to record that as your direct cost of goods. We'll record that as an expense below the line. For many reasons. One of the primary reasons is most of the time you cannot attribute that specific cost to a specific job, so we record that gross cost as an expense. So we recommend that you minimize your labor at a maximum 20% of your revenue. All right, so we put $20,300. We'll do simple math, so do simple math with me. To get to 20% of your revenue, you just say 20,300 times 0.2. That's $4,060. It's a pretty good amount to pay yourself. Now let's just say that $4,060 would include your gross wages and all the taxes associated with that. That's Social Security, federal income tax, Medicare, the whole shebang. You'd like to limit all your expenses. Materials and supplies for landscape job, excluding fuel, should be at about 3% of revenue. Let's say you are watching all your material costs, you cut that in half to about 1.5% of revenue. Still do the same simple math. We say 20,300 times 0.015. That's $304.50. Well managed expenses there. Now this number could go up or down depending on many reasons. And you have a couple of jobs that need the subcontractors. We want to always minimize because of weather, because of many reasons, and the subcontractor cost goes high. This number also needs to be high to be able to allow for that cost to be absorbed. What that also means is your average ticket per job goes up. If you're trimming a major tree or tree that has fallen on a house, that job is not going to be $350. It might end up being $3,500 or $5,000, depending on the extent of the damage or the size of the tree. So that revenue should be associated with your costs so that you can maintain your margins. Maintaining your margins allows you to maintain profitability. So we'll minimize our subcontract expense to about 3% of your total revenue. 3%, 5%, 3% is a good number. So we'll do the same simple math again. 20,300 times 0.03. That's 600% of revenue. Still do the same simple math. We say 20,300 times 0.015. That's $304.50. Well managed expenses there. Now this number could go up or down depending on many reasons. On a house, that job is not going to be $350. It might end up being $3,500 or $5,000, depending on the extent of the damage or the size of the tree. So that revenue should be associated with your costs so that you can maintain your margins. Maintaining your margins allows you to maintain profitability. So we'll minimize our subcontract expense to about 3% of your total revenue. 3%, 5%, 3% is a good number. So we'll do the same simple math again. 20,300 times 0.03. That's $609 for the entire month. So that's pretty well managed cost there. So that gives us a total cost of goods amount. So we'll take all of your expenses in the cost of goods to get the total cost of goods amount. So we say 4,060 plus 304.50 plus 609. That's $4,973.50. If they're sole proprietor, an LLC, an S Corp with a few people, even themselves, they should pay themselves as a W-2 wage, especially if their revenue per month is $20,000 or even if their revenue is under $100,000. It allows them to take certain advantages of the tax code and at the same time minimize certain instances of double taxation, etc. There are many ways that you could pay yourself as an owner of a business. In this specific instance, we recommend as a W-2 wage. So you are the only employee of this business, you pay yourself with a W-2 wage. We also recommend that your labor should be limited to 20% of your revenue for the business. So in this case, we say 20% ends up at $4,060. This would include your wages plus your income tax, Medicare, Social Security withholdings, all of those taxes associated with employment. And then for your materials and supplies, we limited that to 1.5% of revenue. So you managed all your materials and supplies expenses. You didn't really buy anything that you didn't need. You just stuck to, my goal is to $20,000. how do I get to $20,000, minimizing my expenses as best as possible in my cost of goods category. You had a subcontractor for $609, so we took all your cost of goods. They ended up at $4,973.50. All right. Now remember, all this cost of goods do not include any marketing. To get to 58 customers, you need to market to these customers. Your marketing could cost you $20 a day, $50 a day, depending on your marketing mix, your geographic area, your targeted clients, just to get to 58 clients. All right. So that will be included in your expenses. Today we're just looking at revenue, cost of goods, and then gross profit. The gross profit needs to be between 45 to 60% plus to be able to handle all those expenses below and end up with a positive net income. So to get to your gross profit, would say your net revenue of 20,000 minus your cost of goods of $4,973.50 is $15,026.50. $15,026.50. Now, to find the percentage of that, would say the gross profit, the total dollar amount, divided by your net revenue of 20,000. Your gross profit came in at 75%. Goodness, that's a beautiful gross profit right there, man. So that's 75.13%. So just to recap, guys, we decided in May we'd like to hit $20,000 in revenue. We simply worked back the numbers, starting with what is our revenue target. From our revenue target, we said, okay, how many business days do we have? We have 25 business days that we will be doing the actual work. We said 20,000 divided by our business days, that's $800 per day in revenue target that we need to hit. Now, our average ticket is $350. So that means 58 customers. We need to take care of 58 customers that we need to service. Then we said, okay, 58 customers turns into 2 to 3 customers per day. And this is our revenue lines that we'll be targeting. This is our revenue lines that our business operates in. We did 10,000 in lawn services, 5,000 in tree trimming, tree cutting, tree removal services, 5,300 in other services. Could be fixing a fence, pest control, anything that's associated with the business that we're in, handyman services even. That gave us a total revenue of $20,300. We had no refunds for the month. We gave $300 in discounts. So our net revenue came down to $20,000. We hit that $20,000 goal. After we hit that $20,000 goal, we paid ourselves a labor cost of 20%. This includes your wages, your social security tax, your federal income tax, all the taxes associated with you working. You're paying yourself as a W-2 to allow to take advantage of the tax benefits that are associated with your income. Had $304 in materials, $609 in subcontractors to help you with tree trimming jobs. You ended up with a gross profit of $15,026.50. That's 75% gross profit, guys. This is an amazing gross profit amount. Now, this gross profit allows you to spend more money in advertising, spend more money in getting yourself some new tools to do your job, maybe even get a new employee and double your revenue. All right, guys? So we speak about how to do things all the time here at Osage Financial. Today, we just gave you a quick preview of how you can hit $20,000 a month in the landscaping business. Guys, you could take this and apply it to any type of business. You could apply it to a hair salon business. You could apply it to a pest control business. You could apply it to an HVAC business. You could apply it to a roofing business. Any type of business, you could take what your targeted revenue is, work these numbers down to the customers you need to service, amount of customers you need to service, how much you need to charge per customer, and how much you need to maintain in your gross cost of goods to hit a positive, a beautiful gross profit amount. This gross profit amount then leads to any of the expenses that will be associated with your business, and then ending with the net income that you're looking for. However, these numbers take practice. These numbers take you taking the time out to work on your business, and this is what we help you do at Osage Financial. I'm happy to announce our new service coming up called Growth Point. OsageFinancial.com/Growth Point. We help you understand what these numbers mean. We help you get down to the exact amount of customers you need to service, how much to charge per customer, what your revenue lines mean, how to understand those revenue lines. Because when you understand exactly what your business does, you can market to get to the customers you need to get, that leads to the revenue you need to get to. And then of course, it's up to you to give the customer the best service possible. Thank you for watching this episode with us at Osage Financial. Click the link below to get in touch with us, osagefinancial.com/growthpoint.